for educational critical review and reaction is the late, great Jordan Maxwell.
I have always, going back to like 7 to 9 years old, I have always been interested in secrets because I know the world is made up of secrets. And it's our duty as adults to try and discover all the secrets to our life and find out how to maneuver our lives in the world of secrets. And so our government is secret. Our financial arrangements on the earth are in secret. Our religions are in secret. Our military establishment is secret. I don't think there's anything open to the human being today that has not been tampered with and kept secret. So this is what I've tried to do, is awaken people to all the secrets of life, the things that they have never been told before. And believe me, that's a hell of a story.
It is unbelievable. This show's about three years old, maybe almost 4. And I got to tell you, my view of the world now versus my view before I started, completely different. What is up is really down. They have manipulated every aspect of this journey that we're on. Whatever it is, it has been manipulated. We don't know. Everybody just thinks half-ass backwards, and it's unbelievable. And you try to tell them what you've discovered, the research that you've put in, not just you. I'm talking myself, the research I've done, and they just look at you like you're talking crazy. And it's the indoctrination, the brainwashing is very, very deep.
It's all kinds of dark secrets that are symbolic and manipulating of language and terms, and that's why words are so important. We humans are word-controlled humans. We are controlled by our intellectual understanding of words, and we are being misled by our governments, our religions, our political leaders. We're being totally misled into a totally destructive outcome for our human civilization. We're being led down the garden path to a tyranny which is unbelievable. Most people do not have the ability to understand how really deep and dark the secrets of our life really are, and how bad we are being misled into believing things. It's really extraordinary.
Jordan, when you tell people this, they can't believe that a small group could possibly control everything. And I go, you have to understand something. This has been a long game, a long, long game. And these people, they created the money system and they control the money system. And they've created a system, in my opinion, like the Fed, where they create fake money. And then they use this fake money to bribe everybody to play ball in this fake system they've created. And they keep all the real wealth, if it's even important at all, gold, okay? They keep it all to themselves, okay? The Fed, all the real wealth is owned by what? 20% of the world wealth is real. The rest of it's all fake wealth. And they keep all the real wealth. And they bribe us all with all the fake money that they're printing up all the time. And everybody sells their soul and their fellow man out for fake funny money. And, recently, what was the name? Sinclair Media? Was that the name of it, Johnny? That got busted, where they basically owned all these local news stations all over the country. And they all had everybody saying the exact same thing. And that's just one company. What about, now our media is owned by 4 people. Like, it's not that hard. It's a couple boards agreeing. Like and I'll let you talk about, like when you go on a meeting with somebody, you're pitching a show in LA, and they always say this, okay, what we're looking for, that means they got an email from somebody going, this is what we're picking up. And that person got email, and that person got email, and then someone at the top goes, okay, We only want bisexual, biracial people on television right now, and that's why they're looking for that, because the people at the highest level, told them that's what they're looking for. You have
Exactly.
you have the gold, you make the golden rules, right? Is that that's the old
That's
saying?
it.
So where
That's
do we?
the way it works.
How
And
far?
all you have to do is understand New York, Chicago, and underground crime, underworld crime syndicates. There are only a handful of old guys at the top, and they call the shots. And the biggest one on the earth today is, of course, the Holy Father in Rome. He's called the Holy Father because he represents God. He is the original Godfather.
Oh my God! I'm telling you, George. I'm telling you, man. I was telling people this. Like, if you look at both your North American, South American, and European crime organizations, they're all Catholic, man. They have Catholic backgrounds.
Of course they are.
The Jesuits are playing both. They run the CIA and they run all the crime families. They're collecting checks on both sides.
That's why in Rome you will see the most important, wealthiest industrialists, politicians, and secret society heads of secret societies going into Rome and bowing down before the Pope and kissing his ring, because they realize they better get on your damn knees and bow down to him, because he is the Godfather. He calls the shots around the earth, and everybody who's in power knows that. And so we've had presidents of the United States assassinated right in front of us by the people who are working for the Godfather. And we have the organized criminal syndicates today in New York. It's a very big story where our enemies actually operate from and how they do what they do. We go back to Rome. When Rome was ruling the world over 2,000 years ago, when Caesar decided he had conquered all of the known world, he then turned his attention to Britannia. It was the one area where Caesar had not taken over. And so he went into Britannia, crossed the waters, and went into Britain. And he set up the Roman Empire in Britain with his troops. And where was it that he set up his empire in Britain? It was in a city called York, England. This is where we get the York Rite in Freemasonry, from York, England. And that's where Caesar ruled the Britannia, the whole British operation around the world, the maritime operation around the world was being ruled from York, England. And then with the founding of America, Caesar ruled and came here to America, and he set up his operation for the Vatican, and it was in New York, in New England, New York. And so today, America is nothing more than a Roman Catholic fascist totalitarian criminal organization. All over the world, America runs the earth for England. And with England, we run the world, and behind it is the Vatican. Behind it is the Holy Father.
Dude,
the
you
Godfather.
are right. 100%. I've been thinking this forever. Forever. It's like Rome never fell. It just reorganized and rebranded itself, and it said, "Why should we put troops everywhere? We're gonna create the Roman Catholic Church, and we're just going to set up little churches all over the place, and that's how we're going to control everything." And I 100% believe everything you're saying. I've always thought the United States and England were like do you guys remember the movie Mad Max?
Yeah.
You remember when Max had to fight that giant thing, and it was like the really smart guy and the really dumb guy? Master Plaster or Master Blaster. That's what I think England and the United States is. Master Blaster. They point.
That's exactly right.
And that's, and then you can get into this whole thing, Jordan, about like, I just recently found out that the military made deals with all these countries if they could put military bases in their countries. Those countries would be giving free trade with the United States, no tariff, but those countries could tariff American goods. And you're like, why would you do that? Well, the best way to make sure that there's no jobs around is to make sure all the jobs ship out of the country. And then you have two options in life. Join the military or go to jail. Those are your two options. So let's, and that's what they like. We have become stormtroopers for the international couple, whatever that is. I'd love to get your idea on that. I always think the city of London's very interesting. There's something going on there that I think it's way more powerful than anybody is even talking about. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble because of the show, but everybody thinks it's Israel. I think there's levels above that, and Israel's just used as, kind of this, oh, hey, look over here. They're doing all this stuff. Now, I'm not saying that Israel isn't doing some stuff that could upset some people, or that Israel doesn't have the right to exist. That's not my point. But it's not what I think Israel's taking heat for stuff going on in England. I think that's what Brexit is all about.
That's where Israel came from.
Yes.
From Israel is a product of England. It was the British who set up the state of Israel.
The Rothschild, right?
And so in America we have, if you go back to history books, you will find and you'll read that Caesar ruled Rome from a hill in Italy. It was called Capitoline Hill. That's in the history books, or Capitol Hill. So we still have Caesar Augustus, the international emperor of the world, ruling from New York, the Empire State. What empire? The Empire State is the Roman Empire. And how did Caesar rule the Roman Empire from York, England? He did it from ruling New York with the United Nations. He has finally been able to collect all the nations in the world into one organization, and the organization called New York, the Empire State. And how does Caesar run New York and the Empire State from New York?
How?
It's called the Washington, D.C. is the corporate headquarters for the corporation called the World Revolutionary Movement under Caesar. And this is why Caesar would go up on the hill. It said in the history books, he would go up on the hill each morning to officiate over the Roman Empire. Where did he go? He went up on the hill to the Senate of Rome. And so today we still hear the same crap about, well, up on the hill, the Senate did this and that, and the Senate said this, and Caesar went up on the hill, and up on the hill, the Senate did this and that. It's all Roman Catholicism. The whole world is dominated by the Holy Father, who speaks for God. He's the Godfather. And therefore, Rome is the bottom line on all of the filthy, degenerate stuff going on in the world today. The raping of children, the selling of women, the buying and selling of drugs, the promotions of wars, the mafia, La Cosa Nostra, Italian. It's an incredible operation that's been going on for so many thousands of years that we just don't see it. We don't know anything about it. We humans are so busy trying to pay our rent and eat and stay alive, we don't even know what's going on and how it's being run. Yeah. Unless, of course, you drop out of society, which I did back in 1959, some 60 years ago and started looking at the secrets behind the world government we live under. And you will be surprised when you find out how this world is really working, how it actually works. You do not live in the United States of America. You think that you are an American living in the United States of America. You are not. Neither one. You're not an American, and you're not living in the United States of America by law. Once you understand that, now you understand why. When you go into court, you do not have any rights. You cannot talk to a judge about your rights as an American. You don't have any rights. You're not an American. Because after the Civil War in this country back in the 1870s, 1860s, and 70s, after the Civil War was over, it was understood that we in this country are not united anymore. We used to be a United States. We're not united. One half of the country was killing the other half. We had a terrible, bloody civil war. And that's what I see coming now. I see another civil unrest coming. And it's going to be horrible. It's going to make the first one look like child's play. This one, you're going to be fighting for your life, because that's what your enemies who are working to overthrow your government are working for, is to take your life. And you're going to have to do something about it. Okay. And believe me, it's going to be horrible.
Somebody said that, they had those, the French are still having
they're still going at it,
protesting, and what would you call, is that, it's the most peaceful riot I've ever seen in my life. They basically work all week, and then on the weekends when they're supposed to have their day off, and I might be wrong, this is the joke, they walk the streets. They were talking about how that was going to come to the United States soon. I want to get into that real quick because that's more modern day. I want to go back. I mean, people need to really, it's unbelievable right now how people yell Nazis at everybody. Oh, you're a Nazi. And it's unbelievable that they yell Nazis at people while they go and watch a Disney movie, or drive a Volkswagen, or they mourn the death of the Bushes, and or they vote a Bush in the president. It's like, it's unbelievable to me how we compartmentalize everything. And these terms are just thrown out. It's part of what you talked about earlier, just the words are power, and how they've just made, political correctness has made everybody stupid, because it tells you
that's what the schools are supposed to do.
Right, I'm with you.
Government wants to have schools, but if the schools were teaching people something the federal government did not want the people to know, it wouldn't be happening, because the federal government calls the shots, period. And so if the schools were teaching people what the government did not want taught, they wouldn't be doing it. And so most people do not realize the implication of words. We have something called Democrats and Republicans in America, not realizing for a moment what each one of those words mean, a Democrat as opposed to a Republican. Today, we know that the Democrats are a Soviet communist system in operation within the so-called United States. We are not living in the United States of America. We're living in the United States Incorporate. Yes. It's a corporation, a company. And this is why when I see you coming out of a restaurant with some woman one night, I call you the next day and I say, you know what? That girl you were with last night, she's bad company, and you better watch out for her. She's bad company. And you say to me, mind your own business. What are we talking about here? Company, business? It sounds like some sort of a corporation.
Oh my God.
And so therefore, I find that you're going to get married and she's going to be your partner, company, business. We're talking about financial. We're talking about business. And therefore, it's called a business. That's why if you're going to get married, you got to have a business license, because you're not free. You're not an American. You don't walk into a bar with a gun on your hip like the cowboys did. You don't have any freedom. You're not an American. Americans have freedom. You are a U.S. citizen. U.S. citizen, if you look it up in a law dictionary, a U.S. citizen is a corporate employee of a foreign corporation under maritime law.
There we go, Jordan. That's it. That's why you're in a relationship. Partnership.
That's it. You're in this citizenship.
Maritime law.
And maritime law is a partnership, a scholarship, a dealership, a relationship, all kinds of words relating to ship. Why? Because all ships are female. This is why a captain of a ship, a rocket ship, a sailing ship, any kind of a ship, a captain of a ship would always use the term she when talking about the ship. She is very seaworthy. She's been very good to us. She's done this, she's done that. Why are all ships by law called she? Because she delivers the product. It's the male in the marriage that manufactures. He is going to manufacture, and she is going to be in labor constructing the item he has manufactured.
Damn right. Wow. Damn right, ladies. Damn right. Wow.
And so
it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how detailed this brainwashing is.
Oh yeah, it's very detailed. It's highly intelligent.
I want to get into something real quick, Jordan. I want to talk about, I was talking about the Nazis earlier and how, like, basically almost every major corporation in the United States were, like, helping the Nazis. Like,
of course they were.
They were all part of this system. So we have this thing that we're demonizing, yet at the same time, all these things that, like, everybody, I like when I see, it's so funny. You'll see a kid from Antifa wearing a NASA shirt screaming about Nazis. And you're like, you have a shirt on that was started by, you have a logo of a company that was started by Nazis. You're going to watch a Disney movie. Nazi sympathizer.
Absolutely. I will tell you some things you may not want to hear.
Why not?
Communism, Nazism, Christianity, and Jews. All four are part of something called Antonism. 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 Antonism is a word going back to the ancient Egyptian god Anton. Anton, look it up in a dictionary, is the god of the sun in ancient Egypt. Today we refer to him as the Tetragrammaton. The Jews call the Egyptian god the Tetragrammaton, the word for the name of God in Judaism. In Judaism, the Jews worship God, and they say his name is Tetragrammaton. Look it up, Tetragrammaton. Tetra means four. Gram, G-R-A-M-L, means a letter, like A, B, C, and D is a gram. Gives us our word grammar. So the word for God in Hebrew is Tetragrammaton. Tetra is four, gram is letters, and that's why in all synagogues, I do mean all synagogues in every country of the world, when you walk into a synagogue, you will see on the podium, on the altar, you will see a sunburst. You'll see the sun. And the sunburst will have inside of the sunburst, you will see four Hebrew letters. Tetragrammaton. The Aton was the sun god of Egypt. Today we call him Ra, sun god, the sun god Ra. We put in a Y on the end and call it sun ray. The sun ray is the tetragram Aton. The Jews are giving us the worship of an ancient Egyptian god called the tetragram Aton. And what was the symbol in Judaism for the tetragram Aton? Go back and do some homework and find out the symbol that the Jews used for hundreds of years. For 2,000 years, the Jews have used the symbol for the tetragram Aton as the rising sun and the swastika. There are swastikas all over Israel in the Jewish houses of worship. In the synagogues, you will find swastikas.
God. Oh my God! So this
go on the web and type in. Go on image, so you only see the pictures, and type in Jewish swastika, and you will see in the different synagogues in Israel big red swastikas on the walls and on the floors of the Jewish swastikas, and you will see the Star of David and the swastika in the middle and connected with it. It's all over the web, everywhere. Why? Because there is a definite connection between Judaism and Nazis that you don't know anything about.
Well, I'm trying, Jordan. I'm trying to learn.
I know. I'm just making my point that there is a definite Jewish Nazi connection that nobody wants to talk about. Nobody is interested to hear. We don't want to know that Jews were heavily involved in bringing about the Nazi Party.
Hitler
Nazism
was Jewish.
Is a Jewish operation.
Hitler was Jewish. His father was Jewish. His
so much of his history shows the Jewish connection with all the symbols in Nazism were Jewish symbols. And it's an incredible story about the swastika was a Jewish symbol to start with. And it came out of India, came out of Egypt, ancient Egypt. And today, communism, world communism, and Nazism, and Christianity, and Judaism are all operating under the same operation. It's the same game that's being played among all four basic movements of the world: communists, Nazis, Christians, and Jews. This is something that most people do not want to even begin to imagine possible. But I have seen it after 60 years of doing the research on the subject. I'm telling you, there is a definite Jewish connection to Nazism and fascism and Christianity and Islam, and all of this can be traced back in history. If you want to take 60 years to do it, it can be traced back into India. India is the home of Nazism, communism, Christianity, and Judaism. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all claim to have as their beginning forefathers Abraham. Abraham never existed. There was no Abraham.
What?
There was no Abraham. He never existed in history. No matter where you look in history, there was no Abraham. Abraham comes from Abram. In the Bible, he was called Abram until God changed his name and called him Abraham. There was no Abraham. It goes back to a priesthood in India, an ancient priesthood called the Brahmins. Brahmins was a Brahmin priesthood that even today, the Brahmins are referred to as God's chosen people. They are the only people in India that can be talked about as knowing God. If you're going to talk about God, you better be a Brahmin, because Brahma is God in India. And so therefore the priesthood of Brahman is the priesthood of God. They are God's chosen people. You put an A in front of Brahman, it becomes Abram, Abraman. And from Abraman
Oh
or
my
Abram
God.
becomes Abraham. And Abraham had a wife, we're told, as the Brahmins will tell you. If you look into Brahmanism, you will see that there's a goddess in the worship of Brahmins today, which is a very important goddess in Brahmins in India today. Her name is Saraswati. So Abraham and Sarah is Abraham, Abraman, and Sarah Swazi. Saraswati is the female goddess in India. They have a river by her name, Saraswati River. So the Abraham and Sarah is nothing more than a ripoff of the Abraman and Saraswati. So there was no Abraham. There was no Moses. There was no King Solomon or King David. If you go back to the Bible and look up the word King David and write down the scriptures that talk about King David, then go to the earliest Bible, many hundreds of years ago, the very earliest Bibles. You will see that in those same scriptures in that earliest Bible, you go back to the scripture talk about King David, it says as King Druid. D-R-U-I-D, not D-A-V-I-D. Not King David, King Druid. The Jews are a Druidic people, and so are the Europeans are a Druidic people. And so the Druids were around, the Druidic people were around before the Roman Empire came about, and during the Roman Empire, and even after the movement to the Western world, the Druids came over and lived in our, what we call America. America is a Druidic country. And among the Jews and among the Druids of Europe, and both North, East, West, and Southern Europe, Northeast, West, and South, which gives us our word news, N-E-W-S, Northeast, West, and South.
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
Okay? Now, the Druidic people were the lawyers, the priests, the political heads. They were the heads of the government, the heads of the church. Anybody who was important in the ancient European civilization were Druids. And one of the most powerful symbols in the Druidic system of life in Europe was a magic wand, like Merlin the magician with his magic wand, and Mickey Mouse with the magic wand, like the orchestra leader. Orchestra leaders lead the music with their magic wand. In fact, magic wands were always made out of a holly tree. It's made out of Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
When you find out how the Hollywood establishment works directly with the Catholic Church and the Holy Father and the mafiosis and the gangsters and the Jewish mob, the underworld operation in California of the La Cosa Nostra and the Jewish mafia, you will find for the first time America is a very, very dark criminal empire for the Vatican. That's why you see our presidents like the Bushes run over and kiss the ring of the Holy Father. You better kiss the ring. You better go on your knees, fool. You know what? While you're down there, you might want to kiss something else while you're down there.
Oh my God! So okay, so this the Druids were before the Roman Empire, right?
That's right.
So then we have the Roman Empire. It grows, and at some point they're like, Rome fell. I don't think it fell. I think they just rebranded itself. Said, how can we make this easier? Boom, they create, the Catholic Church.
Yeah, they went out of business over across town, and they opened up a new business down the block from here on this side of town.
So basically,
And so that's
Caesar
why
was
they're
like
very
a.
good at business, because they're always closing down a business and reopening a new business.
That sounds like
Same old people doing the same old things.
that sounds like club promoters. You ever see that? Like they'll run a club, boom, run it right into the ground, and then boom, they'll have another club across the street. They don't care. So we have that. Where does like things like the Illuminati, does that matter anything? The Freemasons, the Jesuits, where do the Jesuits play in any of this?
I would like to explain to you that the Illuminati are the Jesuits. That's where we get the word Illuminati from. The Jesuits is a military order inside the Catholic Church. So is La Cosa Nostra. It's not a holy order. They carry guns and they will kill you if you get in their way. So that's the same thing going on inside the Vatican, but it's called Jesuits. And the Jesuits are what I call and what we call Illuminati. They are the bottom line behind Nazism, communism, Americanism. They are the bottom line behind the Roman Empire's move on the earth. And it all boils down to a corporation. After the Civil War in the 1860s, the Jesuits were involved with the killing of Abraham Lincoln. We now know that. We've got all kinds of documents and letters and secret material that has been uncovered for many years that the Jesuits were very instrumental in killing Abraham Lincoln. He said that. He said that himself before he died. He said, my problem and my war is not with the American people, it's with the Jesuits. And one of the terms in the military, today in the military, if you're in the military, you'll know the term, a mission. The word mission is a military term, like Mission Impossible. And so therefore, the Jesuits opened up on the West Coast their Catholic missions. It's a mission, and it was all based on the Catholic Church's Roman establishment in America to set up a mission. Just like in Israel today, you have the Wailing Wall. We have the Wall Street too, but you have the Wailing Wall, and the Jews in Wall Street are still crying and praying at the wall. It's a Wailing Wall. But what the Jewish people do not know, no one's ever told them, and no one needs to tell them, because they think that they are the God's gift to mankind. So they are the most intelligent people that's ever lived on the earth, are the Jewish people. They're God's chosen people. And point of fact, the Wailing Wall is a Roman fort built by the Romans. And the Jews are at the Wailing Wall thinking it's the wall of King Solomon's temple. It is not King Solomon's temple. Go on the web, look up Fort Antonia, like Anthony, Fort Anthony. And you will see Fort Anthony was built by the Romans to control Jerusalem, to kick the Islamic world out of Jerusalem. They had to set up a fort for the Roman Empire.
Unbelievable.
And that Roman Empire's fort is called Fort Antonia. Look it up, and you'll see pictures of the Wailing Wall. So the Jews are actually at the Roman Wailing Wall, offering up their prayers to their Jehovah, which is nothing more than the same Antonism I told you about. So that's why communism, Nazism, Christianity, Judaism are all Antonism, and
it's all the same people
story.
at the highest levels, right? It's all the same people.
It's all the same people. At the very top, it's all the same people. But I'm fascinated with how many Jews go to the Wailing Wall and will go to Israel, never realizing for a moment what Israel is and where it got its name. Why do you call that country Israel?
Why?
It comes from the name of the three gods of the esoteric world, the three sun gods, Isis was the goddess in Egypt. And then after Isis, with the Pharaoh Akhenaten changing the worship of Isis into
Ra,
the worship of the sun,
Ra.
God's son, the light of the world. He
Son
is our
of
risen
God,
Savior.
Son God.
Yep. And his name was Amun Ra, R-A. So therefore, when the Hyksos people, who we call them Hebrews, but they were called Hyksos back in the ancient world. And when the Hyksos went into Egypt, they went in illegally. And the Egyptians didn't want them in their country, just like we're having illegals pouring into our country by the millions. Nobody gives a damn. Nobody cares. Just let them come on in. And so if you need some guns, we'll give you some guns. If you need alcohol, we'll give you plenty to drink. If you got children who are sick, we'll take care of them. Bring them on in. Bring all the criminals. Bring everybody in. Come on in. America's got plenty of food and guns for everybody. And that's what is going on with the Catholic Church today. The Catholic Church controls Mexico, Central America, South America. The Vatican operates out of the Medellin cartel in Colombia. That's where the money
CIA,
is going.
They
That's
run
where
the CIA.
Colombia is Catholic. And the Medellin cartel that's selling us the drugs, that's all Vatican. And so the Vatican is making money off of everybody behind the scenes. And we're not supposed to know anything about it. And if you do know, you keep your mouth shut and do what you're told to do and be in compliance and pay your bills and stay the hell away from government and religion. You're not supposed to know anything.
This is an insane episode.